Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 322nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond. I'll be your host today, along with Flint Mulhausen. And I believe we have Mr. Mayran Keshe ready to go with today's workshop. Go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, good morning, good day to you. Wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers workshops, 322 of them now. And hopefully, as all the time before, we'll add to our knowledge in different ways and in different times, concentrate on what is what we call the topic of the day and the science needed for that time and that age. At the moment, as we've been gripped in this corona situation, every effort is made in every direction by all the nations and all the what we call scientific world to achieve or understand the breakthrough. And in this process, we are one of many. We're not the only one. And we're doing our what we call in African language level best to be able to help at least our knowledge seekers and many others. As you're aware, we worked heavily with the Chinese government authorities, and once they were given the cup of life and then explained to them, and then they saw the results, then they went and they took the technology back into the military and they brought it up in a different way. And they have managed to curb the situation using the technology. And in so many ways, if the Chinese authorities would have been more open with us, we would have stopped many, many more deaths. But the openness with the Keshe Foundation in Iran has brought that situation. We are, in so many ways, few weeks ahead of the others. And in so many ways, maybe we can stop the suffering of many more. In the situation with Iran, we have managed to clean one city, one hospital in Iran totally of the virus. This morning, most probably, there'll be no corona patient in this hospital for the first time, we hope. And the emergency room of this hospital carries 10 beds, and it was full till we get in. And now there could be only one person left, which will leave most probably today or tomorrow. We have lost no doctors, we have lost no nurses. As far as we can see, no personnel in the section of the hospital has been affected. And with the support of Mrs. Mohammadi and the Keshe Foundation, support him in Iran, we have taken the illness into outpatient level, as we announced last week, which means when the people come in, they're diagnosed, then if confirmed, they are given a cup of life. They're given a bottle of water, gas water. And now the doctors diagnose if it's an upper infection or lower infection, then the patient has an option to the second cup. But the beauty with the new way is that before, when the patient was told to go home and literally they die home, because they recover or not, the rest of the family will get it. As we have seen in Wuhan City when they opened the buildings which they were opened up, which were locked up earlier, and all the members of the families are dead. In Iran, with the spreading this cup of life with the water through the hospital, they had over 100 patients in homes, locked in, locked down, and they were infecting their family. with a cup of life, now the whole family is getting support. And in so many ways, there is no more new patients coming as such to the hospital. The city is being announced to be clean, and it was announced by the ministers or officials in Iran yesterday in the national television. So, what we are telling you is what is already released, and they have mentioned the name of the hospital and the city. So, for the first time, Keshe Foundation work has been recognized by the government. At the same time, many more hospitals are going under the same cover in Iran. We expect a national announcement by the Iranian government and officials in respect to the Keshe Foundation technology in coming days. A close collaboration between the Keshe Foundation in Iran, Mrs. Mohammadi and her team, and the Iranian officials at the highest level is gathering the data, confirming the outcome, and surely, if they are happy with the whole structure, it will be announced as one of the alternatives that the government will take with the nation. The beauty with this is that everyone can help themselves in the house, in house, and we can take it to new procedures. The protocol for effectiveness in Iran has changed in a way that we go for rapid discharge of the virus from the body. At the same time, you might have seen videos that in Iran, individuals have taken into their hands to wash the streets and towns with the gas water. The knowledge seekers in Iran have seen the results. The Keshe Foundation, one of their what we call links to public, has passed 29,000. We closed it for sometimes not to increase the numbers because the support team could not handle, and it's been reopened in past day or two. And in total, estimated we have reached 1 million Iranians right across, and many, many more across Iran. It's been said one of the reasons that death toll in Iran has reduced is due to the work of the Keshe Foundation volunteer teams across Iran. In the past, if you had a disease and you died more or less or got infected, had no choice. Now, the people who are on the end cycle, which means they're infected, they know they're infected and they're locked down, they come to the foundation. They help themselves and then they make many, many cups for many of their families and relatives. So, in this cycle, we have taken the edge off the top of the death rate through the new technology. And at the same time, we've seen a rapid drop in death rates. Iranian government has now managed to curb the growth, but even with the growth, we have no more deaths as such. Very, very few compared to what we see in France, in Germany, in Italy, and the rest. The Iranian government officials in the coming days will open the technology to all the governments across the planet. The Iranian officials, military, and SEPA will deliver the technology on the official levels to all the nations. In that process, we expect to curb the whole process of what we call Corona by end of April internationally. This is the aim and the work of the foundation. In the next days, an official scientific paper will be published the first time ever by the Keshe Foundation with the support and full understanding and peer reviewed by leading scientists in Iran as a scientific paper which is ratified and confirmed, going through the whole process. This paper will officially put the technology of the Keshe Foundation on the map as a major breakthrough in the world of science. The Keshe Foundation team have been relentlessly working, and the scientific team in Iran have been more or less calling many, many people who have used to confirm that the nation was used as clinical trial and has shown success. Usually when you do clinical trials, you have to find patients. This time, due to the effectiveness of the technology, the whole nation of Iran was used, and the data provided by the Keshe Foundation that the ministers and the officials can call the patients on the line and get the first-hand direct knowledge that who they are, what happened, how were they treated, and the forms have been filled in to confirm. So the Iranian government has used the Iranian nation who volunteered themselves using the Keshe Foundation technology as a national clinical trial. This has never ever happened before. At the same time, many Iranians and outside Iran have used the technology using the Iranian channels. And to that effect, all those who are non-Iranians were given the form to fill in past few days and returned to the officials in Iran to show that the technology is used across this planet. And for this reason, Iranian military and officials will take lead in spreading the technology across the planet. But we wait for the official announcement. As yesterday, two of the highest ranking scientists and officials have confirmed that Iran has reached a new scientific breakthrough, a major scientific breakthrough. And we all know as knowledge seekers, this knowledge is in your hand, has been in your hand, and many of you across the planet have used it. At the same time, in communication with the White House, through the officials, through what we call the advisors, military advisors to the American government, and this morning to a direct communication with American officials in embassies, we have offered to clean and help SS Roosevelt's up to 200 corona patients on board. The offer has been made very direct. Iranian military will attend with all the equipment on board SS Roosevelt to help the American soldiers. This has been officially ratified, and we extend this to the American military across the planet. We are not anymore enemies, we are friends in arms against corona. We expect a positive answer from American administration and office of the President Trump. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn has been approached by the Keshe Foundation as a personal advisor to President Trump for a direct decision by the White House. We are very open in this case, as the Iranian military personnel will attend and will be available to help their colleagues across SS Roosevelt, as many of them will die. 5,000 soldiers are on board, 200 confirmed and can spread. Within 7 days, we return the nuclear base, what we call ship, back into the hand of the Americans, cleaned of all viruses, no infection, no personnel being affected by corona. Open plane, play again. We will take the same procedure. We have already informed the administration of Austrian government that this technology will be offered to the European nations through the Keshe Foundation Austria. In the next few hours, this offer with the full support will be offered to the Prime Minister of Austria for the European nations, or through the direct dialogue between the EU and Iranian military officials for transfer of the technology. As we said, we all play the game, and now is the time to benefit by the game we played for past 10 years, sharing the knowledge freely across this planet. We needed the support of a government to back the Keshe Foundation and show the track. And I would like to thank the Office of His Excellency and His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran to allowing this to happen in Iran so openly that we could help the rest of the public, not only in Iran, but beyond the borders of Iran. This technology in due course, if received rejection from the White House, will be directly delivered to Governor of Arizona, to the Governor of Florida, California, Washington, and to the New York City. It's the decision of the governors to override their president if he makes a wrong decision through his own personal vendetta or feeling. The Iranian military and the Keshe Foundation stand solid behind the American nation and will transfer the technology across. The next step after this will be the development of the space technology collaboration with the Iranian government officials and most probably the Americans and the rest of the world. We need to build trust, we need to build friendship, and we need to build, through Corona, a new direction, a new change for humanity. We have asked for a direct face-to-face meeting with American officials within the next 24 hours to discuss in how step by step we can build back the trust and the friendship, be it helping the American soldiers on SS Roosevelt and many other ships which the Americans are affected. Technology will bring peace, but the peace has to be understood. That does not become another step for another animosity between nations racing towards new knowledge. In so many ways, we have to understand more how to build, how to do, and how to extend. We have in a scientific paper to be released by the Iranian officials on behalf of the Keshe Foundation in a general publication within the next days will clearly state what we see as the Keshe Foundation, the way to handle the coronavirus, the way to overcome it, and the way to foresee the future problems that this virus will bring. In the past, viruses were only and only viruses. They damaged, flew, they killed, and they're gone. With this technology and with this new effective way, we should not lose around 1 million people every winter to flu epidemics. This is a solution to another cycle for long-term problems with viruses. But at the same time, we have to learn that this new virus, according to the scientific paper to be published in Iran, will explain something very drastic. If the governments do not understand, and if the governments overlook the long-term process and damages of this virus, we will have more deaths in the coming months and years from this virus than actually the virus today. This virus has, as I've explained before, a very specific characteristics which we've never seen. In the span of universe, we know how to handle it. For mankind, this is unknown. This virus, in finding a cell, in attaching itself to it, it creates an interface with material and illusion of atmosphere. What we have seen in this virus, as we all know, at the center of all cells on this planet, there is a calcium in a form of energy, not in a form of solid. In interacting with this, as many other parts inside the cell, this energy has managed to change this to a calcium cell. Understand that this virus energy interacts in all levels with the cell. But the strength it carries is so specific that it carries the salt of calcium, which means it changes the energy into matter state. This is why the doctors in their first corona pictures show calcification of the cells of the lung. There are a number of problems with this that the humanity has to face. With the new technology of the GANs which we provide, we encircle a new dimension. In a way, our encirclement comes from the GANs we produce that in field strength, in interaction, we deplete the energy of the virus. In this process, we see such interaction. And as our system due to COP1 is set, we protect and create a link with the energy of the calcium. In this process, we do not allow the virus to change the calcium to a solid state. For this reason, a new protocol has been issued by the Keshe Foundation to the Iranian doctors and to all those who use it to change the protocol, that we change this for good. But what happens when millions of people in China and millions of people across Europe and America do not go through the process of using the GANs to deplete the energy of the what we call corona from this calcium? As you know, as we said, every cell of the man carries a seed of calcium. We manage, for those who survive in one way or another, to shrink the energy of the virus, and they survive. But due to calcification, which is inside the body, we expect a massive rise in cancer across this planet in the next 3 months to 2 years, because the process of decalcification is not there. In a way, this calcium will stay. It'll become, as it carries the strength of the salt of the calcium with it that is converted, it becomes a salt in the tissue of the man. Lung, brain, intestines, liver, kidneys, testicles, ovaries, the womb, prostate. We will see a massive increase in bone cancer and in blood cancer. if corona takes from us 1 million, we will lose 20 million to cancers. In China, we estimate about 20 to 30 million have been affected and died, or totally affected numbers runs into 15 million. We expect a massive death rate in China. Anything in the region of 150 to 2 to 500 million Chinese will die of this cancer. In Europe, we expect the same. Depopulation will not come through corona, will come in the secondary cancers, which will be very aggressive, as the seed of the corona has already set in massive numbers. Usually cancers starts with 1 or 2 cells, but now corona has made many cells. We can see accumulation and a collective cancer across the body of one person, the brain, the lung, the kidneys, the lymph, and everything else. Because when you say you had a pain in your body, means every cell has been calcified, which has got to do with your nervous system somewhere. I have given warning to the Chinese government, and I've given a warning to the Iranian government and administration that will run what we call anti-calcium decalcification in a very rapid way in public teachings across internet and television in Iran, that people can run a 3-day or 3-hour session twice in 1 or 2 weeks to totally decalcify this. In a way, the energy will stay, but calcification will be removed. This knowledge is unique and is in the hand of the Iranian national and the Iranian nation and the Iranian government, and it will be set out in the new scientific paper which will be published. I would like, on behalf of the Iranian Keshe Foundation, to thank the military, Sepah, and collectively the Ministry of Health and all the officials from the office of His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei to support and work so hard to be able to achieve this, to be able to support the Iranian nation in such a rapid way. This is what it says for all of us. And every time this virus hits us, if we don't clean up, this is what is going to hit us in the coming time. The first series of cancers in China has shown its face, because it's so huge. Such a large number of cells have been affected that the body cannot decalcify, and it goes in a nosedive. One of the ways to handle this will be explained through the Iranian officials. Doctors in Keshe Foundation have been writing the protocol and the whole process in past 2 or 3 days to be part of this scientific paper. Now we can see that the corona can be with us for a long time. is the first time we have a virus which has an access or a strength to the level of the physical part of the body of the man. All the viruses up to now were energy packages. But for the first time, this virus has managed to bridge a very important position around the cell of the man. And what I'm about to explain, I have explained to the officials. This is not scaremongering. This is to explain something very, very, very real. As we have seen, the virus has managed to make access at the strength of the level of the calcium within itself, with the cell of the body of the man, to create a calcification. The biggest fear, which we see could be imminent, but we cannot put a time on it, is that if this process of interaction of the fields within the structure of the virus leads to creation of the calcium within the virus itself, which means we'll be entrapped with a new physical body. For the first time, RNA will be making its own DNA. But if this happens, what will be the consequences of this growth outside the cell? And would it be a parasite which we'll never be able to get rid of within the human body? Would we change our life to the new dimension of, in fact, a cell from the virus? Then what this will do is become a parasite, a virus parasite inside the body of those who are affected. And would the mankind have the knowledge and the technology to overcome this? It will be the first time a virus has changed itself to a physical entity known to man. If you have understood and read even the book number 1 and understood fully from the interaction of the fields, such a creation of energy and gravity point is possible and is at the strength of the calcium creation and change of the virus to a cell on its own within the structure of the body of man is a possibility. The problem with corona is it can become the crown on the whole human body and not just on the cells. This is a reality which we have to consider because it's for the first time we have seen this. We understand this process fully, conversion of the calcium fully, because by accident or by faith or by the will of God, Keshe Foundation had the opportunity and a full time to understand the calcification within the body of the man some times ago. In so many ways, what we talk about is the reality which we have already handled and we have seen the conversion in calcification. If you remember some years ago, we showed you a number of pictures of the lady who her body was converting all the what we call body cells into calcium, and in changing her life and working so closely with her, we managed to understand this process long time ago. So if we get to that point and we understand this position, if you remember, we try to blank her face out, but show you the fingers. We don't with calcification of the bone through the blood, and then amputation and death and everything else which went with it. If you remember, some years ago, we showed this. The lady who her body was changing everything to calcium. You see the fingers, you see the tip of the fingers, especially the one facing you. We could see the bone because the blood vessels were calcified and no blood was coming and the body was wasting. We have many videos that you can see all the bones. And it took 3 months to reverse, to change the calcification in blood to no calcification. You can see from the tip of the finger very clearly. If you look here and you look here, we know what it will do to mankind, this virus. It will strip your bones, flesh from bones, and you have to watch it. This calcification through the energy transfer and what we've seen with this virus is very real. We cannot overlook it and we cannot ignore it because many of us will start this process in coming months and years. What will release a new protocol in the coming days that the Keshe Foundation supporters, knowledge seekers, and people across the world who want to keep on changing these calcifications to normal energy of the cells can follow. We wait for the official papers to be released by the Iranian government, and then we start building on the true knowledge in how to divert and change. Many of your knowledge seekers will not be here in the next few years due to damage of the coronas which you overlooked. And when it touches you, you understand. There is a process to reverse this if need be, and when the time comes, we'll release the technology. But till that time, it's your responsibility to look after yourselves. We have pictures of the bones in the fingers if you want to see. A bone sticking out without any flesh. Never been done before. We know what will come with this. I've seen it. And if you want to see the horror of it, no problem. We have 10,000 pictures from this lady and videos. And fortunately or unfortunately, she's an Iranian. She's still alive. This was taken, this hand, last year, last October. She attended my father's funeral. And that's why she's in black. And we helped her in 2005, 2006. And the hospitals in Wareham Hospital in Belgium have a full detailed report. You can go and ask them to look at the videos and MRIs and the rest of it, and the amputation and the growth of the toe and the amputation of the toe. You have to understand, Corona is not going to finish when your pain goes or you survive it. It's the beginning of a long-term pain and suffering to come if you do not look after yourself properly, regularly, till we eradicate. This virus has mutated. Let me explain to you, as I've done before, how much it has changed. Corona now has developed in this way. Then there is a corona, which is, I don't have any other colors. I can show you like this. Originally, the corona appeared in the lung with fever. This is the old corona. This is the original corona. Then the corona appeared in brain, then in kidney and liver, and in the stomach. Then it appeared in intestine, and then it appeared in reproduction cells of the body. In the past weeks, we see corona in arms and legs. Except the lung, we do not see temperature in any others, sometimes kidney and liver. In the past few days, we have seen corona creating white marks on the toes and the fingernails as it interacts with the calcium of the nail and deepens it. In the past week, 2 weeks, we've seen corona with the pain in the joints. As these are the points where bone marrow comes out, and every new cell has the calcium as a seed and automatically, immediately calcifies, creating blockage and pain. So, in fact, corona has shown its face in 6 different ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the doctors today only talk about this due to the ignorance of their knowledge. We have seen now that we are handling the section here with cup number 1 and section here with cup number 2 in a totally different manner. In cases of the kidney and the liver, when it's eradicated from the body, we see pain, massive pain in the brain. As this is connected and is adjacent to the heart, this pain comes from inside interaction between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality, where the physicality confirms to the soul of the man, I have survived. And he has to adjust itself to accept the other part is not leaving. We understand the process. And the people who had the brain corona in the first phases, they speak of totally different type of pain when they have a corona of the kidney and liver just under the heart. In Iran, we have had people with 52% oxygen and 57% oxygen. Usually they die. Now they're home with 90 plus oxygen level without oxygen support. Never been achieved. This is death reported another number. This is the life which is carried on at home. And we are informing all the Iranians to carry on with a full protocol from top to toe with the new protocol. The first week where the coronavirus is eradicated, and 7 days later, repetition to make sure any calcification of the cells has totally been reversed. The world of science today speaks about this. And the world of science in 6 months, 10 years, we'll talk about the millions of people who suddenly died of deaths of cancers, strokes, and brain hemorrhage because of the calcification from corona. If those in Europe and America think they have walked away with the temperature of the corona, you have said yes and hello to the cancer of corona. What we understand and what we see, the way this virus has managed to mutate itself and it goes to calcification, we will use in further stages, we cannot put a time and limit to it, to use all the understanding of the different aspects of the calcium in the body of the man to create a replication of the virus of itself in the shape of operation of the human body. Has such a capability. Because the calciums of the brain are different than the calciums of the nail. The calcium of the heart cell are different than the ones in the bone and the blood. And this virus has managed to replicate and connect to all of them. So, in total, he must and he has to be building a storage bank of RNA conversion to DNA equal to the structure to physicality of the man. World of science has to understand this within the next 6 months. Otherwise, there will not be enough land in some nations to bury their dead, and there will not be enough men to bury their dead. People die faster than they can bury them. As we have seen in Italy, churches have become mortuaries. As they tell us, in Paris, they're putting the corona patients on the train to outside Paris because there is not enough in hospitals to accommodate. We advise you to contact your governments and your military. Ask for a direct talk with the Iranian militaries and the Keshe Foundation in Iran will support, teach, and will bring the technology to your nations. We use the office of the Prime Minister of Austria as a point of contact, and consequently, the Iranian nationals, governments, and military use their own offices across these nations to establish the link. Wait for another 72 hours maximum by Saturday, and then start the process with your governments for the transfer of the technology from Iranian military to their military, then they can penalize and deliver the technology right across. If your officials, if your officials conduct the whole procedure as it will be processed in Iran, by end of this month, we should be able to bring normality at least on the life and into the life. There is no way we can do the military precision as was done in Iran, in China. But as you teach everyone to use a cup of life, and this cup of life will continuously produce, you can literally wash your buildings from inside outside or give it to your government to wash from inside outside. Every day you produce a cup of live gas. And in the process, by throwing it on the streets of your town and the cars passing will continuously disinfect the whole city and the country. This is the only way where we can spread it so fast. The cup of life is not for you in the house. The cup of life once saves you and you have immune yourself, you throw a cup, you give a cup, the products of it to your nation, to your neighborhood. The olden tradition was that they throw a water and clean the front of the house, throw the water on the buildings, on the street, and let the cars disinfect. Let the people as they walk, they disinfect the whole city. We don't have any other way. Even the Chinese showmanship of stations will not reach the paths, the alleyways, and the public toilets and the rest of it, nor in the libraries and the universities. And spread the water from the cup of life for at least a year, every day, but everywhere you walk as you produce is free. And this is the only way that will battle this thing. It is the only way that we can stop this process to develop as we change the whole of our environment away from this virus. In Iran, people have started it. The Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers have gone through this process and now they've taken the cleaning of the cities in their own hands. And in so many ways, they are doing it. In the West, they don't tell you, but in Iran, many Keshe Foundations supporters have started the process. And this become part of your job. This is what you have to do, and this is how we will change the position. Governments are incapable. They don't have, and they will not be able to do this. This is, as we said, the last man standing, and you're the last man standing for your home, standing for your city and your nation, and as one nation. When I spoke to the American officials, and I said the Iranian military and the Keshe Foundations are ready to go into SS Roosevelt, you could hear the shake in their voice. They cannot believe it. We told you we make bridges of peace through the thoughts of enemies, not through our action of friendship and sharing. And you have become the same. Spray the buildings, spray the cities as you pass. You, this cup of life would not stop making gases. Rick, I have sent you 3 videos. This is the Iranians in a small village. And now you understand how deep Keshe Foundation is embedded in the Iranian lifestyle. Have you received them, Rick?
They're just coming in. Thanks. Just a minute.
You can play them one by one. People saying we build these in our empty homes, empty places, and we disinfect the city ourselves at night when everybody's asleep. Don't forget, it does not go away, so stays and disinfect. We saw it in China as a showmanship in Wuhan city and taking the president scared of even taking his mask off. You see the Iranian with the pleasure of the knowledge are spreading against across the street, even in the small villages. If it's done in a village, small village, now you can understand what other Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers are doing and can do across Tehran and the other cities. And this has become part of you, spreading in the churches and the mosques and the streets and everywhere else. That people by walking will take it. This is one of the knowledge seekers in a small village in Iran. You can play, please.
کنم خدمت تمام اعضای بنیاد کشه. ما الان در حال آبپاشی آبهای گنزی که ساختیم هستیم و همونطور که میدونید ما گنز رو نمیپاشیم، ما خود آبی که روی گنزه میپاشیم با دستگاه‌های سمپاش با فشار قوی داریم روستای حشمت آباد از شهر درود لرستان رو پاکسازی میکنیم. ممنونم از لطفتون.
As you can see, last week Mrs. Mohammadi was saying they say it's only for the Iranians in Tehran. This is the Keshe Foundation in Lorestan, a small village where what we call a different culture of Iran lives. And you can see it. People in villages have started, and it says to you, of using the gas water to wash, and we only use the water of it, not itself. There's another video. You can see them. These people are spreading everywhere. And they've taken the job of securing their country, their lands, their cities, and their own villages. And this is a small village, very, very small village. It's not just their home. As you see, it's not just their home. And this is how it'll be. And this is the only way we can overcome this. And they're going everywhere. And you just walk on it. When it rains, it spreads it more. And it's beautiful how people have taken things, Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers, in their hand in Iran. And the government understood knowledge is totally free. This is a space technology in the hand of a man in a farm which understands is saving life. And as we said, share it freely. He hasn't disinfected his own house, and I'm happy, and that's me. He's taken his knowledge everywhere. And this is how you should be as knowledge seekers. In so many ways, with the new announcement of the Iranian government and the teachings coming up, and if the European governments follow the same path and the American government and the rest of the world, we will overcome this virus within the next month or two. We go back to normality. But this normality will be short lived, and the hospitals will be full with people with cancers if the governments do not follow the procedure to decontaminate the body of the man and the environment from the total GANs, what we call the plasma of the fields of this virus. It's not anymore just I made a cup, I'm happy in the house. I have a cup which keeps on producing. I clean up the city. Your railways, train stations, just throw the cup. You carry a cup, people will understand. And as we all do, it becomes a cup of life for everybody else. And in so many ways, governments cannot afford to do. The financial burden on this is huge. And as one of the Iranian leaders in the meeting said, we were told this technology and knowledge is free. Why do we have to say no to it? They're not asking for any money. They're giving it to us free and we see the results. It's not vaccines that we sell, and it's not herbal medicine that is sold. It's free. It's a free water. And if it saves energy and people follow the protocol and it saves their lives, maybe Corona becomes the crown in friendship and unification of man. The only people who lose money with this pipe and this water, you see, is the pharmaceuticals and those who are planning to inject every man with vaccines to control and then destroy. And this water is washing the gates of heaven for the mankind, where for those who are planning to introduce and enforce vaccination becomes the gate of hell. All their investments has gone down the tube. This will make Gates Foundation bankrupt. You will understand soon. Lawsuit cases against the foundation for spreading vaccine, which was not needed when delivered, will deplete the funds very soon from the most richest foundations. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Again, I'll remind the attendees they can put their virtual hands up. There's a hand up now, and then we can allow you to speak. Shiraz, would you like to go ahead?
Hello, no, thank you.
Hello.
Shanna says she has nothing to say.
Oh, okay.
What is this here? Telephone numbers. Please do not put any telephone numbers or anything on the panel. We'll stop you. Many times we have said, do not post any private numbers or links on any of the chats. There's a question. It says, got
Mr.
4
Keshe,
pictures.
I think that number is for a Zoom channel for the Italian Zoom.
So write on it.
Yeah.
Right, this is a Zoom channel for the Italians here.
It looks exactly like a phone number. Yeah. Okay.
There's a guy who says he's got 4 pictures. Till we don't review these, preview these, we don't let anything out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we don't need that.
It's probably not appropriate. It has to do with coils and a maggrav.
Yeah, so just leave it. One says, my love and gratitude to the Iranian people and their leaders for stepping forward for the world. We wait for the Iranian government to make the official announcements and what they have done and what they step to take.
Mr. Keshe, it's Doug here from Australia. I'm just wondering, do we need to have a giant amount of GANS water and a compressor or a giant machine with a hose and spray like that? Or can we work with a smaller spray?
This is the Iranian love of their neighbors. They won't go and do it in a small way.
Yeah. They won't do it by halves.
Yeah, you can carry the spray and spray each other and spray everything else. I was talking to one of the knowledge seekers. He says, you know, I'm even giving the water from cup number 1 to my plants and they're growing so fast. He said they must have had a virus.
Yeah.
So you can spray it everywhere. And I was in the lift yesterday. I was spraying it in the lift, and people who are not recipient to it, you cannot do anything. But those who understand it and they use it.
Thank you.
In a way, if you spray it on your own clothing and you're walking around, you're disinfecting the environment. On your shoes, when you walk out, you spray your shoes, your mat, you're outside the house. I think it'll become part of the tradition to wash, and we have to, because the next cycle of the cancers are so horrible. I can show you some of the pictures of corona cancer. We already start seeing it.
Okay, we have a hand up here from H. Musavi. Would you like to open your microphone and go ahead? I can try to unmute. Oh, it seemed to work. Go ahead, H. Musabi. We can't hear you. I'm not sure if you're trying to speak.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for your all of your works. My question is that what do you forecast for the future of this virus? Can human or the world overcome this virus in the next future? What do you forecast? Thank you very much.
Depends on how we handle it. And very soon, nation by nation, and in behavior towards it, will set out the outcome. It's not anymore just a spray and drinking and breathing. The protocol has changed drastically because we have seen the progress and the change of it. And its cleverness of it. Primarily, we see the forecast a massive increase in cancer, massive increase, especially in China. I forecast 100 to 200 million losses, maybe even more, to 400 million losses in China due to the cancer. What I call election counts will tell. In China, in the way they behaved, they thought they have eradicated corona from the lung, but the corona has seeped into the other 5 pillar, what we call sections, and they'll pay heavy for it. Or unless the Chinese government goes into a national teaching and teaches people before it's too long how to deplete the energy from the body. There is one problem with China. They have to go back to openness where the technology came, and in that openness, they can share it openly with their nation. As I said, the way the Chinese handled this corona and taking the knowledge from the Keshe Foundation and then changing it and officially through their military, saying they don't want it to be known, in a way they took a Trojan inside their own blood. Now the corona will grow and they have nothing for it to say, as we've seen it in Iran, and it will go into cancer. I explained it in a very easy way. When you steal a big diamond from a jewelry shop, which everybody knows about, or from a family, you cannot wear it in public and you cannot show it in public because they know you're wearing a stolen good. You can only wear that where you're with a bunch of thieves like you, who what they bring to the party is stolen from the others the same way. So you know you're sitting amongst a bunch of thieves. And the Chinese did the same. They stole a jewel and they cannot show it in the public, but they show washing their places with water and announcing they've cleaned up their places with the water. Or everything is open. But the Iranians done different. They show the jewel and they're proud of the jewel. And they're openly sharing it with the rest of the world, where China has to hide it. And for that hiding, as you know, sometimes some of these gems bring with themselves a bad omen. and the China has got stuck in that bad omen. Or they go back to the nation and they say this technology is where it came from and it's not Chinese and it's not what we said, and the nation needs to protect themselves. And then they follow the protocol which is set out by the Iranian military and the Keshe Foundation as a joint collaboration to save the Iranian nation and the rest of the world. We hear in one of the governmental internal in East Asia, China is speaking about the new nanotechnology they want to give to Malaysia to help them with Corona. Doesn't that sound familiar? Nanotechnology and the gas technology. And how come they did not announce it publicly and they're discussing it privately with the government? In Iran, we are proud and we share it proudly the way we've done with you for years. They don't believe you. You call the press, they didn't listen to you. You call the government and they put the phone down as a bunch of idiots. Now, the military and the government will announce it and deliver it and show the figures and empty hospitals by use of the technology as a jewel in the crown of Iran science and technology. And your government will embrace the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers to teach us how and how fast. We'll talk next Thursday and the Thursday after. If the Iranian officials keep to their promise. As you've seen, it has been announced in past 24 hours on the national television that Iran has reached a new technology. Major breakthrough. Then the forecast is two-way. Massive cancers in China, healthy population in the West. You follow the protocol. In so many ways. As I said, public swimming pools will become where you make sure you are disinfected from the virus. Taking a bath on a regular basis in Corona, what I call cup of life, will support you to get rid of and reduce it. Washing your cities, cleaning up the places, in a way, making the Corona water as part of the water circulation, over a few months will overcome. And the beauty is, the burden does not go on the national governments who are already bankrupt, but goes to the individuals as they wash their cities and the streets and the rest. Here you see the Iranian guy washing the city because they don't have enough gas. But can you imagine on the city with, let's say, 100 houses on it, with 2 or 3 apartments, 300 cups, let's say even 100 cups thrown on the street and on the building and on the footpath, and the cars will cross that street, will take it across the nation. We do not, we cannot, and we will not allow this to win if we unite. There will bring this a lot of benefit. I would like to share something with you which I tried to touch last week, but many of you did not understand. In Cup of Life, many of you, even in a Cup of Life number 2, you have seen many white Gans copper, which means will affect the emotion of the man. you will find yourselves very calm people. You will find the city calms down. You will see the aggression will go from the nations. Because through the cup of life, we have raised the level of the soul of the man away from aggression. In a way, we have done exactly what you did with the cup when you were sick. Now, the nation is sick and it'll change. These cup of lives you throw on the streets, or you'll wash into your basement or into your pipelines, and they'll come out in another way somewhere else, will change, will bring a new atmosphere. You bring a new condition, which is what we wanted, that, but we did not hope it this way. If you remember a very simple thing, in Caribbean, when the gas was spread with a few cups, we saw how hurricane was stopped. Now, in your cities and in your buildings and your towns, you are throwing a cup of life, and you will see what will come up your city. Gradually, you will make that dome, and this dome on its own will have nothing to do with animosity and what has been wrong with the breath point, what gave you life of the planet. And if enough of you spread the ganses in the coming months around this planet, we will create that dome of peace on this planet. I told you I'll get what I want. Does not matter how you play the game. We use the opportunities to create peace. And now you understand. You throw your gallons of water in Sydney, and you throw your gallons of water in China, in Iran, in Europe or America. You remember the dome? There were a few cups. Now you're cycling tons of it. After this, if we follow, we see the change in human behavior. Because we have elevated the soul of the man through the cup number 1 and cup number 2. And with that, the human race will change a new course. We will see a peaceful nations as one nation. We will see the embodiment of embracing universal community, where the humanity reaches a new understanding of its own beauty and its own values. I told you, many of you built many magrabs. Now those magrabs become the beacon for all this. In so many ways, as I said to you before, we look into make the best for the human, that through that we can make the best for the rest of the universe. And if we carry on the way you are doing, And the way, even if you understand what you've done, how we have used you and your body, many of you drank the gas and you went out of your body still energized into the soldiers and across the nations. We have already started the process of change. The only difference this time will be that collectively human race will accept the new condition. We have seen a shameful behavior from the White House and more shameful behavior in past few days in Iraq from the White House. But as we say, we do not expect good news from General Michael Flynn to accept support and help from the Iranian army to overcome the American problems in the Navy and other places. But the nation will override the president, and the president will have no seat as a president. You got to understand, in the time of trouble, even the worst enemies step down. The shameful president increased sanctions. And again, we see military moves in Iraq on the banner of Iran wanting to attack us to make ready, thinking the Iranian army are weak, it's the time to strike. What a shameless man. We defend the territory, but at the same time we have your soldiers. They'll be putting arms down to the shame to our leaders. How can we fight with those who saved our lives? As I told you, we disgrace those who stand in our way. As I said, in the last negotiations, when the Obama administration approached us that the Senate will not ratify the 5+1, I gave an interview to Mike Harris and I explained how many senators in the Senate and in the House would like to say no to 5 to 15 million jobs which will come out of the peace process with Iran. Time of recession, you have to tell your people you are refusing millions of jobs. And the following Monday, the opposition collapsed. And we got the ratification through the Senate. Now, our call goes to the American Navy, Army, and Armed Forces. Your sons and your soldiers will die of corona. Would you like to fight? Or would you accept the hand of friendship from the Iranian army and military for ratification using Iranian advance beyond nuclear technology? We give you a guarantee within 7 days, SS Roosevelt will be open for public. The way we cleaned up the hospital in Iran. Let the soldiers decide, not the incompetent leaders. We bombard the American military with the gift of life, and let's see who has the strength to create more war. We stand shoulder to shoulder with the world military to deliver this to all the nations. because they have order and they can reach where the governments are incompetent to deliver except word. As we always said, armies are men of action and they can deliver. And this time the Iranian army will deliver peace and solution for Corona. We are proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with Iranian soldiers to eradicate the Corona from Iran and the rest of the world. You ask me what I see the future. I see the future of peace, using the opportunity of Corona to forget about the past. But at the same time, we have to take steps that will not take a toll on our lives in the future months through cancers and others. Any other question?
Yes, we have a couple of people with their hands up here. Sabir, I can allow you to speak. And also we have after that, Alvaro.
Hello, Mr.
Go ahead.
Keshe, do you hear me?
Yes.
I have a question. This cup of life, when we use it, is a, how can I say it? Let's say another way. Can I use another method of plasma for the same time? For example, a breathing device with the CO2 and zinc?
Cup of life has a structure for calcium and magnesium. That's why it's developed for this purpose. You understand? You have the copper and the zinc and the nano-coated. What is calcium? Rick, what is calcium?
I would have to look that up. Just a
I
second.
already wrote it.
Oh, okay.
You have to understand the design of it. We look at the spectrum of the calcium from 35 to 49. We average around about 39, 40. You have a copper, which we calculate on about 57 to 69, around about 63, 60 to 63, 64. As you know, when you have a dynamic system, which is created due to the nanomaterial inside, not all the polarities are in the same way, as we call it. Some are in opposite way. This is something you never understood in the work of the Ganser plasma. So in this water, we have a sodium, around about 19 to 25. We average around about 20, 23. Understanding the dynamic motions of in this cup, if we take 63 and if we take 23 of copper, we'll come to around about 40 of the calcium. Then you understand the magnetic field of magnesium or possible calcium and sodium, and the copper presence will give you the field strength of the calcium. This is how we interact with the calcium seed which Corona has touched.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Yes, let me ask you another question. I have a breathing device. I made it with the CO2 and zinc. So can I use it in this moment? Or
for the time being, yes, you can do. It's emergency because part of the zinc, and the best way to do it is to add 1 or 2 drops of salt into it to create near this condition for yourself in your cup. And use a Gans salt from your pot, not just the normal Gans, which in that process will give you that. Just add 1 or 2 drops of the Gans salt water.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Now you understand how we handle the Corona and why we are so effective on it. Because we have matched it match to match. We have linked with it, link to link. Everything is done. We have it possible available. In a way, if you look at it, Corona is like a big mother with so many mother pig, with so many tits. And we put a piglet on each one, sucking the energy out of the mother. Every possible way. We have linked into it in such a simple technology. You see, to me, physics is fun and it's beauty because I understand it. I see how things go. And when you enjoy science, everything is easy to solve. I built this technology and I know every brick of it where it needs to be fit in.
Excuse me, Mr. Keshe. I think you misunderstand me. I have a cup of life. I made a GANs of this cup of life, but also I have another device, breathing device with the CO2 and zinc for I have a fibromyalgia. I means when I use these 2 methods, do not make any wrong things.
No, that's what I told you. Just put the salt from cup of life in your breathing system. You do both. You help your fibromyalgia and you help your Corona.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Why have you got a fibromyalgia?
Excuse me?
Why have you got fibromyalgia?
Well, it's a long life. I just get it.
What are the signs? What is your number of the fibromyalgia?
Well, I talked with Dr. Pujaran, and she told me she introduced me one doctor, and I talked with him, and he gave me this breathing device. So I have a pain any day. Like I say, 24 hours, I have some pain in my leg, and I do all the tests, and the doctor says you are okay. You don't have any problem, physical problem. It looks like you have a mental problem. So
let me ask you a question. Have you been tested for fibromyalgia?
I test with another things like pineal glands, I don't know, blood, spine, all of them is okay. Just as
no, fibromyalgia does not show in any of these things. Everything's okay. Fibromyalgia has a specific structure of identification. And you can ask your wife to do it for you. I used to test people who used to come and they said, "Oh, you want to touch us?" And I said, "You know something, you can go and get lost and suffer for the rest of your life." Fibromyalgia has 18 points in the body. If you pass 11 positive, you have fibromyalgia. Some people are as high as 18. They hardly can work, and doctors say it's just psychological. It's not psychological. How old are you?
I'm 41.
40. Where are you from?
I'm from Iran.
Okay. When did you leave Iran, or were you born?
10 years ago, I live Iran.
Okay. Fibromyalgia is very easy to diagnose by somebody who stands next to you. You need to put pressure at 2.5 pounds per square inch, or 2 kilogram round. The best one is round at the finger, tip of the finger. The first thing you do, you take the back of the ankle. You know where your tendons are, the back of your foot? This is point 1 and 2. You get your wife to squeeze between the 2 fingers these tendons. If they are painful and you cannot stand it, don't kick her and don't push people around. It means you have been abused on standing on your feet. That's the first sign of fibromyalgia. So you have the first 2. Then there is 2 inside your thigh, which goes near the shy line. Women think you want to touch them. But these 2 point pressure points is point number 3 and 4. Again, if you push with a pressure point hard, you feel pain. So now you have 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Then on the back of your shoulder, you have 2 points in your shoulder blades. You press those deep, and if you feel pain, that is 5 and 6. Then under your arms, there are 2 pressure points on your ribs. When you press it, pain. Then there are 2 points in front of your chest near collarbone, number 9 and 10. You have 2 points by the neck or your ear, number 11 and 12. There are 2 points on the back in the spine, just behind your hips, number 13 and 14. Then you have 2 pressure points, which sits on your sinuses on either side of your nose, number 15 and 16. Then you have a final point. These 2 points are very, very different and changes the position. You press on the side of the breast if there is a pain, number 17 and 18. If any of these numbers, 18, comes to 11, you have fibromyalgia. You feel the pain. You kick people. So don't touch, it hurts. Fibromyalgia comes by you're exhausted, because to keep these pains under control takes a lot of energy every day. These are emotional damages which done on you. Abuse by family or friends before the age of puberty. That is
Yeah,
around
exactly.
12, 14. Am I correct?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. This creates a psychological depression in the brain, which leads not wanting to work, exhaustion all the time. Because you have to understand, to service each pain, which is part of this, takes something like 10 to 20 calories a day. If you have 20 calorie energy loss by 18, that's nearly 400 calorie a day is wasted just on servicing these pains. So if you take 1,400 calorie a day or 600, you're already short by 400. You're exhausted, you're tired. If you cannot walk, means they have told you you're incompetent, you cannot do anything.
Well, sometimes barely I can walk.
Yes, I understand. So with the fibromyalgia, this is the structure. Ask Dr. Mujara to put you in touch with me. I'll take you out of it within 2 to 3 weeks.
Thank you so
The
much.
process is not this way. Fibromyalgia has a specific process. I had people who for 17 years could not even go to work. They had to work 2 or 3 hours a week to get paid by social services. And they spend the whole week recovering for those 2 or 3 hours to stay alive. And in less than 3 weeks, they were cooking and everything else and living a normal life. You have to understand, fibromyalgia is a psychosomatic by abuse and what we call before puberty. Then, if you enter the workforce, or when not the workforce, but when you cross puberty, number 17, 18 changes position. So, this is your tits, tip of your breast, and these are your last ribs. You line up, if you have a woman, you lift your breast up, you take your tits, and you go directly line to the rib. And you pressurize these 2 points. These become 18 and 17. If you have no pain, let's call it for ease 20 and 19. If you have no pain on 2019, you have fibromyalgia. If you have pain on 20 and 19, you have what is known as fatigue. '19 and 20 comes after puberty, comes from subordinate. You have a boss who tells you you're useless and you accept it. You're there. Your wife tells you you're incompetent and everything else. You work in an office because now you are a teenager and you grow up and they blame you for everything and you know it's not your fault. You start getting depression. and this is clinical fatigue, CF and FM. CF comes after puberty, FM comes before puberty, around 12 to up to 12 years, 13 years. This comes from any time, from age of 14 to end of life, whatever that life will be. You can get fatigue anytime. A lot of people accept a lot of pressure at work because they need the bread to put on the table, and the boss is ruthless. He thinks he's the boss. You get CF. You go into a marriage which the wife is abusive, but for the sake of children, you stay in. You get CF. You go into a marriage which the wife betrays you, and you know it, but you stay in it for children. You get CF. And all the abuse comes with it. When you accept, it's not my fault, but everything I have to accept for the sake of just having a bread on the table to live, you get this. Then you have to test yourself. Because your front, your breast, is where you protect your heart, your emotion with. And that's where the pain comes. It took me 10 years to complete this. And I mastered it. And I'll walk you out of it. You'll walk in, you divorce the wife, and you start a new life because you won't stand the abusive behavior. Most of the children who go through bullying will suffer from FM long time. With FM and CF, you need to strengthen the soul and the emotion. When you see the people with FM and CF, when they walk into your office, the shoulders is here, bent forward, submissive. In 3 months, they stand tall and they won't let anyone abuse them. Your posture is like an animal in the fields of Africa. The lion picks the animal by the posture. So do the men. And this is why many, many women go from one abusive relationship to another, because of the posture, because of the problems which psychologically brought in a hidden FM in their life. And a lot of boys and men the same. It's not the first time when we tell you that we change the moral and the emotion of the man through cup 1, because we understand it fully and we have tested it fully in the cases of the others in the past 20 years. Take a picture of yourself if you have FM and go through the process of the Keshe Foundation, what I call FM recovery, and then take another picture. You're at least 2 to 3 centimeters taller. No lion will pick up because he knows you kick. Your prospects, your understanding, your whole structure will change. I've seen couples sat in front of me, and then they realize how abusive they've been to each other because both came from the abusive fibromyalgia in the background. And after 3 months, they could not live with each other because they understood how they carried the abusive behavior of the parents into their partner.
Thank you, Dr. Keshe, for your time. I'm really appreciate it.
Am I correct?
What? Sorry?
Am I correct?
Yeah, anything you said is exactly the same.
Speak to Dr. Hassan and I'll sort you out. I'll help you to get out of it.
Thank you. I'm really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Alvaro, can you open your mic and go ahead?
Yes. Can you hear me, Rick?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you, Rick. Mr. Keshe, I would like to ask you a question. I'm here from Brazil. I would like to ask you a question.
Accent.
Sorry.
I said I gathered from your accent.
Okay. I would like to ask you a question about the cup of man. How should I use the water and the gas from the cup of man? And also, how can I better feel and interact with the fields from the cups, please?
The cup of man will open it in the next few weeks. Make your cup of man and keep it at home.
I'll already make 2 of them.
So good. Let me explain to you how things are in 2 different ways. I was explaining this in one of the teachings this week. We gave you cup number 1. We gave you cup number 2. The word CF Wang Lin is clinical fatigue. FM is fibromyalgia. I can see the word popping up. Cup number 1. Cup number 2. Cup 1 and cup 2. We call it the cup of man. Parallel. The world of science starts with fields. You need 2 fields to interact. You need 2 fields to interact to give you a plasma. This is the field theory or magnetic field effect. This is plasma technology. The next step is what we call this as cup number 3 or system number 3. These are 1 and 1 or 2 and 2. And the interaction of the 2, 1 and 2 has given us, the point 2, not 3. I do apologize. Which is this one. In the coming teaching, in other combination of 2s, when we put, let's say, 2A and the 2B, the combination of 2s will give us what we know in the world of science as physics. two plasmas, each created from interaction of the fields, give you an atom, which is physics. Before that, they're just plasmas and fields. In the interaction of the two twos, which you got the physics, which become number 3. Now, if I put 2 3s together, you get chemistry. And if I put 2 4s together, you get biology. And if I put 2 5s together, you get the soul of physicality. And if I put the 2 6s together, you get the soul of the man. And if I put the soul of the man together, I get the soul of the creator, as in Chinese we call it Dao. That's why they figure infinity. That in the interaction from this, you go back to 1.
Why you're going to give us 6 cups that you told us?
With 6 cups, you come to this point. Then the rest is understanding of the soul of the man. Man now has reached this point in your structure. But if you understand, in cup development, he is still here with a cup of man. Only the head of Keshe Foundation and one other person have been enlightened by this. If you understand the operation of the cup number 1 and cup number 2, you will just about become to understand the interaction between the 2 parts of the body of the man as separate fields, that it makes the plasma of the man. And then you understand, then we give you a dimension of physicality and the rest. At the moment, we have to go with the cup number 1 and 2 as a cup of man, because we have to elevate the soul of the man, and then we have to elevate the physicality of the man, that the both are the same strength of the soul of interaction, that we make a perfect man in a physical dimension. We have brought your level of emotion with your physicality. We first increase the emotion side to support the lung and the brain. In that process, we saw the weakness in physicality, which we brought cup number 2. You have the cup of man, but it has brought a beautiful, beautiful structure. The Chinese understand yin and yang, and they're talking about the fields of it, how these fields interact. The Iranians and the Middle Eastern have come up with, okay, what is doing with my physical? I want to see this and that. And we see with the Western and the Europeans, they're still in the dilemma of how many turns left or right, what things is going to be. And it's amazing when I listen to all three school of thoughts, and I see the West is so entangled in the world of physicality, it'll take him a long time even to come to understand to save his body. And then even Middle Easterns have a long way to go to the culture of the Chinese, understanding of the balance of the creation. When you look at the chants, European chants, they're still talking about the coil and the guns and this and that. The Iranians are talking about, I made the guns, what can I do with it, and the rest of it. And the Chinese don't even look at the structure of the cups in so many ways. They've gone directly, what does the field effect has, and what is the yin and yang? This is why mankind has to work collectively and understand each other at the level of the soul, that it in a way works this way. When I see European chat room, it makes me laugh. When I look at the Arab, we made nearly 30 Krona chat rooms. When I look at the Arabs, it absolutely really brings me to, we don't know what it is, but we're trying to be part of it. But some of them understand a bit of it, but we are there because there is a chat room, we have to talk, and not many. But when you go to the Iranians, they're there at it. It works, like get on with it. I can say my physicality. I don't care whatever it is, turns or whatever, it's got to do its job. And then you go to the Chinese, what effect does he have on the soul? As they said, if you hear the Chinese QQs, translation, some of them says, is our right to steal, it's our right to use the Keshe Foundation technology. We're giving it to us. Yes, but you gave it with respect. It has to be respected, not to be stolen. As the Iranian official said, he's giving it to us a free gift for our people. How can we reject it? Chinese said, it's a gift, we steal it. He doesn't need to know it's his. And then in 2 years, 3 years down the line, we'll see the survival rates in Iran, and we see the survival rates in China, and we see the survival rates in Europe. And as is our tradition in Iran, In the time of war, we do not fight, we help our enemies. We have even given a helping hand to the American Navy to get better, that maybe when they come back, we can beat them nicer in the wars if they decide to battle that too. We don't help the Americans out of our weakness. We do it out of our love and respect for humanity. But if they want another beating, it's very free, it'll be done so easy. But this time, it'll be with the beating of the love, not with arms. With sharing of the knowledge. There is one condition that the Iranian military forces will put ahead in supporting and helping the other nations. We insist signing of the peace treaty between the armies across the planet and accepting the technology. Prerequisite in armies working together. Don't forget, the Iranian army signed such a treaty with the Romans 2,500 years ago, and nobody knew which one is which. We are used to it. We ran an empire long before you could find a village to call it home. Any other question?
Good morning, Mr. Keshe. This is Gatwa. I have a question.
Yes.
Could you please tell
You
us
got a problem. I have a, sorry, before you say anything, I have to tell you something very strange. How come you have so many supporters and so many students in Kenya and around you, and none of them are on African chat line?
No, they are there. I have invited 2 so far. The others, they
Your
have.
classes are packed with people that should be there to share knowledge.
I know, but
It's
they don't have the
a free
Telegram.
platform.
They don't have Telegram.
Open
but,
a chat room local. They talk to each other there. It's everywhere. I open it in the WeChat. I open it anywhere you like. Get them talking to each other.
I will do. I'll do that. In
Thank you
fact,
very
I'm
much.
in the process. So the question is, what is the appropriate salinity of the cup of man?
We're back into the same thing. You decide. This is what I said last time. Let's say what you decide.
I've already decided, but I may be wrong. So I wanted to.
Then you turn up to be Chinese looking if you're wrong. And if you get the salinity right and everything else right, you might look American white. So what difference does it make? You're still a human, you have a soul.
Good morning, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much, Mr.
No, wait. Dr. Azhar, we have to speak to Dr.
Mr. Keshe, if he depends if he wants to become a salty man or a sweet man. Depends if he wants to become a sweet man or a salty man.
He's a sweet man, he's Dr. Gatwa. Dr. Gatwa, carry on.
What I said is I already decided, but I could be wrong, so I really wanted to be correct.
How could be? God made a mistake, made the man, but he still got his some right things, huh? You know, Dr. Gatwa, there's a beautiful joke in Farsi. It's a very old joke. And I heard it again recently in a chat. God said, a man said to the God, why have you made women so beautiful? God said, because I want you to enjoy the beauty. The man says to the God, he says, why did you make a woman so stupid? He said, because then he can love you or she can love you. Do you understand?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
So we give the beauty. It depends how you want to appreciate it. You have to change things according to what you understand. As he said, she's beautiful, but she's stupid. And God said, I made her stupid that she can love you. So let's see, do we love our soul or do we stick to the physicality to love what is physical? As I said, it depends on the intelligence of the man. You can make any shape, any color, any salinity, but what do you expect? And you have to understand, the cup of man carries a soul. Did you bless it or you just pushed in the bars to see what you make? Because the purpose of making a cup of man wasn't just to make a cup. The purpose of cup of man was to teach man to respect. This is the problem. When I gave you the cup of life, I explained to you, it has a soul. In your lives, you give life, a physical life, to your children. I allowed you to do that with your own eyes, with a cup of man. You have created a soul you're responsible for. And you're so physical that you look at the cup as another thing to save your life with Corona. Corona and the cronies of it were finished with cup 1 and 2. I brought you to a level very much, one man making 2 cups, one man making 2 cup of man, one physicality giving life to 2 hidden souls. In life of the man, we call it schizophrenic. You got to understand the cup of life and a cup of man. You're still looking for everything in it except understanding the truth. This is the soul of emotion, and this is the soul of his physicality. He has life as your child. You have created it. And in essence, his soul is connected to your soul. You want to play with it, you're quite welcome. But be careful what it can do to you when you're dishonest with yourself and the others. You will understand soon where you have become the other cup.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. We say in an old proverb, do to the others as you like to be done to. Understand what a cup of life is. You need to understand the cup of life, and you need to understand the cup of man. In the coming time, when we open the space to you, this is what you will be facing with. And it's the truth about yourself who's got to interact with it. We start teaching the cup of man post-Corona, not because of Corona. To us, Corona is complete, is finished. But because you're so physical, it was easy to bring it in. In fact, if you look, and every man makes one cup of man, we'll have 7 billion physical souls and 7 billion souls of the man who have trust to interact with. Very interesting if you understand it.
Mr. Keshe, I have a question.
You never stop asking questions.
Mr. Keshe, good morning. Mr. Keshe, two questions. One is, first of all, can you help someone else with the cup of man? Or they have to do it themselves?
Cup of man has to be made by the man himself.
But can you teach them, help them?
Of course, we teach you. Don't you teach sex education to your children?
Yes.
So this is a soul education.
Okay, the other question I have, last time in your teaching, when we were teaching cup of man, you said we elevate the soul of the man. So the soul of the man is supporting the physicality, the soul of physicality, that in which the virus of the soul of the man is very rare. Does it mean once the soul gets elevated to the point that physicality is supporting the physical soul, the virus can never affect us?
Why are you afraid of the virus?
Oh, I'm not afraid. I'm just asking a question.
Space is so full of it that it's not going to affect you. Have you ever been in love?
Yes.
How many times?
I don't know, Mr. Keshe.
You're women. Women fall in love day out, day in. Depends on what shoe they wear. But in reality, love is a virus. Has no physical dimension. It's us who's got to handle it. One of the best viruses we know is falling in love. How do we manage it? How can we let it affect us that way? How can our soul allow us to share our heart, a physical part, with somebody else? So if you understand the totality of viruses, we are born with it, and because of it, we reproduce and we enjoy the existence of the others. So, what's your fear?
Mr. Keshe, the reason I asked this question, I wrote down your last teaching word by word, and I'm decoding all those because there's so much.
Yes, but in the physical language, understand it in terms of the soul of the man.
So I let my soul understand it then. Why should I decode
I don't know. That's your problem. That is your fear. That's your understanding.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Can I ask a question?
Somebody's microphone is open in the back. Yes, we have Mrs. Mohammadi from Tehran.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The soul of the man needs the soul of the physical.
Somebody's got a microphone open in the background, Mrs. Mohammadi. Yes, carry
The
on.
soul of the man needs to soul of the physically to elevate or not?
The soul of the man is the only elevator of the soul of physicality. There is no other way to it. And in the process, the cup of man is set to set the scene for that for the man, if the man understands. If you look at the cup of man as a cup of man, you will not understand anything. It's just another cup, another game to play. But if you reach the soul of the cup of man, with the soul of the man, you will find mysteries of life. Let me explain to you something which I explained. I don't know if you've been there, some of you are not. Very soon, as I explained to some of the knowledge seekers in the background, we will show you how easy life and the soul can be created in the dimension of physicality. Where I will give you a drop of water and I'll give you a fish tank. And when I drop the water into the fish tank, through the emotion of the soul of the man, you can have a fish, or you can have yourself a cow. Where the fish becomes very lips, and for the cow becomes the womb of the mother as a cow. This knowledge is hidden to man. And I'm training one Chinese man to be able to do it. Because the Chinese understand the essence of the yin and yang. If we give it to the Western, would like the fish to eat. If we give it to the Middle Eastern, we would like to half as it grows to eat it. This gift will come from a Chinese man. Where we add a drop, and from that drop, we create a life. You remember I told you I create a condition that you can see the fields that others from the universe will come. Now that'll be your first training. That you can see in the space, you don't fall for magic. I was planning to show this in Tehran conference.
Mr. Kesh, are you sure you want to teach this to a Chinese? Because Chinese eat meat, but Indian don't eat meat.
Yeah, but they eat more vegetables, more salt. I prefer to eat meat to a vegetarian. One soul carries one animal. Each grain of rice on a stem of rice has a soul. You need 1,000 to fill in a bowl to feed a man every time. It's your misinterpretation, understanding of the life. I stay with the less criminals, and sometimes it's better. But there is more criminality in this too, which I don't show you. Maybe you want to drop that it becomes a grain of rice. In that drop, I'll give you the soul. It's your thoughts which give the physicality. That's the difference between the man and a cup of man. Mrs. Mohammadi, have you finished your job or are you still busy while you're on the line?
No, we are busy.
Mr. Keshe, is it possible to do the Iran conference still or no?
We got to ask the Iranian government. We are ready if they are ready.
We still have 17 days to go.
We can curb the corona very easily. That's what I said to some officials in Iran. We have managed to curb the corona. So anyone who's got the corona, we call Iran as what we call medical tourism. You can come to Iran, we let you, we save your lives, we cure you, and you can go back. Tehran will become the only city in the world open for business with no corona. And if you have, we accept you with the greatest of the pleasures. Health tourism for corona for Iran will bring most powerful men in the world trying to save their lives with their families. And Tehran is open. It'll be the only city, the only country which welcomes anyone from around the world with corona, because we have managed to crown it. We will announce it soon. Tehran airport will open for international travel for people who are sick with corona. The richer you are, the more we welcome you. We have to recuperate some of the money we lost with the sanctions through your lives. At least we can give to our people that they can start developing a better technologies for the others to enjoy. One of the best things with this will be within the next few days, we'll announce Iran is open for international travel because we know how to handle it. No quarantine. You can come and go as the way you came and went before. Just follow our procedures. Tehran Imam Khomeini Airport will be open in the next few days and we welcome anyone from anywhere around the world. We sterilize you inside the plane and we give you a cup to make sure you don't catch it and you don't give it. And if you have, we contain it. I told you, I bring Iran to be the crown and the jewel of science and technology. Now, you need a jewel to find and then crown it, not to find a jewel to crown the crown with it. We will announce very soon. We are open back to normal right across Iran. Give us a few days to clean up. And then meanwhile, you can all come in And we'll see if we can keep the 19th conference open. You're afraid because so many people in Paris, you're putting them on the train to another hospital outside, put them on a plane and $1,000 or $10,000 each to spend on holidays in Iran. We'll treat them for even send them back. Any Parisians who wants a ticket to Tehran, you're quite welcome. We even accept people from the White House. Any other question?
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes.
I'm Angelo from Romania, and I have one question about cup of man. If I can use it, for example, if my wish is to feed myself and elevate my soul, can I use this, set up this cup of man during sleep? For example, putting cup number 1 on the head side and cup number 2 on the leg side of the bed.
Any other question?
Hello, hello, sir. It's Menas. Thank you, and I'm present in all your wishes. I hope Iran, for the benefit of humanity, becomes the jewel of science and give it with hospitality to anybody. But I think that we need more zinc plasma water till then on the whole world. And as far as, if you permit, as far as the specificity towards this virus, I have tried, I have said it before, I've tried with the flies, I accepted them, and I opened my house somehow. I responded with reception, and they didn't bother me anymore, the flies in my house. So I have the same feeling with this virus. Like I cannot, of course, I take care of all precautions, but I cannot have hate or fear about that. I feel like if I'm receptive, I accept it as a part of the universe, and I'm not aggressive toward it, and I cannot be that. I think it might not attack me if it has a soul, and if this soul of me like a receptive and welcoming and no animosity towards, maybe it would pass by me because I'm not reactive. First is that. Second is that the history of the Egyptians, when they put at the time of plague or the illness, they put the sign of the blood or sacrifice on their doors. The illness was passing their house.
Why? Stop. Why?
Because of the spirituality, the force of the
Oh no, come on, Mrs. Massad. You should understand the symbolism of it if you understand the work of the Gans and the body of the man having a Gans. What do you do now? We tell you to spray your house with Ganses.
Yes.
Isn't that the cross of blood over your door?
Yeah, probably, yes. But I'm talking about the
But
state.
no, because symbolism in knowledge has to be understood. Because the blood is a Gans, is the level that he absorbs, that interacts with the virus, with the plague virus. If you take, it's exactly what you're doing with the Gans spray in your home. This is what I tell you, throw it on the street and wash your buildings on it. Why? You don't need to sacrifice an animal to do it, to put a gas.
No, I know. I
Now
mean,
you understand.
sacrifice is also giving food
No,
to a
no,
poor
it's not a
person.
sacrifice. No, no, you're talking physics scientifically. The blood is a cancer state. And the virus needs a protein to attach itself to. So when it's got a free food there, and then it devalues to the energy of the whatever, the building or whatever, it loses its power. That's what you do with your gases. That's what you do with the gases on your body. It's not, what do you call it? It's understanding what it means, what it does.
What I mean is, how about the spirit of person?
First of all, let me tell you something. In a couple of sentences, you said something which is very alarming, but in a way, very important. You said we cannot be afraid of viruses and this and that. Yeah. Space.
Of course, I take
You
precautions.
want, no. If you're afraid of viruses, please do not leave Earth atmosphere. Stay a human, change yourself to this planet. Outside is all viruses. So to begin with, you never become a man of space. Then you have to understand, if that's the case and you become man of space, viruses are part of the environment. You have to understand how you deal with it, with the interaction of the soul of the man, the soul of physicality of man, that does not create an absorption or interaction with the fields which you don't need. But you still need these viruses or fields to feed yourself with. You understand? So you said, I'm not afraid of viruses. I've never been afraid of viruses because I know it. If you cannot be a man of space if you're afraid of viruses. They say if you can't stand the heat, don't get in the kitchen. Don't start cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're afraid of viruses, don't even try to get your soul out of this planet, because out there is nothing but viruses, which is the energy packs.
Which can be used for survival.
Of course, you're doing it now. What do you do with the gas water we give you? You wash yourself, your body with it. You take it off the virus in bits and bobs, and you feed yourself with it. What do you do? That's why I keep on telling you, keep on drinking water, gas water. You take the energy of it is in so many bits, the banana, the strawberry. Well, some of you try to understand, when you drink these gas waters, would you taste or feel your crave for something? Or you feel satisfied, you're not hungry? I used to eat a lot. In past few weeks, I drink so much gas. Oh, I eat very little. It nibbles. I was thinking yesterday, my God, if I go this way, I'll be as thin as anything, because I eat a very little. One plate, very little, whatever is there. Try to have a nibble just to be the energy that I can carry on. Because if you understand, you're using the energy of the virus to feed the rest of your body. You're not making it immune.
So what about the specific?
This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons I explained today to some of the Iranian scientists. This is one of the reasons we see such a fast recovery with this gas technology, because we use the energy of the virus, which is in parts, and while it goes through the stomach to feed the body, and because it's already digested energy, it brings recovery so fast. It's a
Yes.
huge stone we cannot move, but when we chop it in pieces, we can build buildings on it, the building blocks of the life of man.
I'm present with your wishes. And the other thing,
I carry the knowledge, I have no wishes.
for humanity, for saving us.
You're saving
Sir,
yourselves. You see, I didn't answer the gentleman from Romania because then there is a lot of speculation of whatever. Use your intelligence, not try to set to formality and the framework of what has to be. Many people are accepting and doing different things with the cup of man, but it needs a man to understand the cup, not just there for them to become a gimmick. This is a big difference.
it's a new experience for man, not to be in a framework of whatever.
It's a new toy.
Yeah. Another thing, what about some spiritual advice, some special prayers or meditations that do they, if they are sincerely applied with some people profound
You're talking to the wrong person about meditation and pray. Who am I praying to? What am I giving? Or who am I meditating to? If you spend time with Wang Lin, she spends hours meditating. I don't know how they meditate, but Chinese spend a lot of time meditating. And I don't understand what they meditate. They even sit in the train and they're meditating if the time and the place is right. Huh? But what is the meditation? What is the understanding of prayer? Who do we pray? Who do we give to? We give to our own soul. We elevate our own soul. If you understand the truth now, who are we giving to? Who are we praying? Unless we give to the souls who created us or brought us joy or brought us life.
If I can express my feeling, is kind of getting inside myself without the noises of my physicality, and that opens me to a bigger, infinite space, and then I get things differently.
Let me. I'll bring you an expert in this. Just wait one. Wang Lin, are you there? Just listen to this one. Wang Lin from China. Are you online?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, you spend hours meditating. Every time I talk to you, I says, "Oh, I was meditating." What does meditation mean in Chinese, or in your way of meditating?
Okay, although I spend time on that, but maybe I'm not a good meditator because I
How long have you been practicing meditating?
just occasionally, sometimes when I'm free for
Every day,
like maybe. Yeah, if I have time, I do. But that's the way, like, for me, it's just to relax and to feeling my body, to listen, like something pumping in my head. What is there? Just like an observer of your thoughts, observer of your body, and yeah, and calm down. But I know I'm really not a good at that. But I know a lot of people go through meditation, they have a lot of achievement, they free their soul. So actually I'm just a very like a lower premier school or kindergarten for that. I think there's a lot. Oh yeah, that's because I'm the stupidity. That shows the stupid side of a women, right?
Is there anyone on a Chinese QQ who can explain this?
Yeah, I think I can ask for somebody if they want to pumping up and to say something, and I can translate.
Yeah.
刚才凯先生就是想让我来给他解释一下到底什么是冥想，因为他说经常一问我，我什么跑去冥想去了。然后我是说冥想只是很初级的阶段，我只是放松去聆听，或者说观察自己的身体，观察自己的思想。但是我觉得有很多的中国人应该是在这方面是非常擅长的，所以凯斯先生问说群里面有没有人可以上来解释一下这个有关冥想的事情？有中国朋友愿意说的话，如果你在 Room 上，你可以直接开麦；如果你在 QQ 里面，我不知道这个 QQ 怎么能够让你的声音传出去，或者说打字。Yeah, okay. I just translate and ask, invite Chinese
Let
people.
me explain to you. When you call Wang Lin to speak to her and there is no answer, you say she's busy. So you call back an hour later, there's still no answer. You call back 2 hours later, she says, I was meditating. So you get used to it. They forever meditate. The Chinese, I've never known a nation so much meditating. So is there any response from the Chinese?
Somebody said this is a cultivation way in Taoism. Yeah. And Buddhism or even Confucianism, they're all like to meditate. This is the way I think they try to communicate with the soul. When you are calmed down, and then your soul gonna to pumping up. So there's somebody want to raise a hand in QQ group. Let's see if he can say something, and then I can translate.
Okay. Meanwhile, while we are quiet, we play the music of the soul. A lot of knowledge seekers have to step up and understand more about the real life, not the physical life. And space will become a very, very comfortable place. And as long as you're afraid of viruses, do not enter the universal community, because a lot of them are energy packs of what you call viruses, but they're lovely viruses. You can even fall in love with the viruses. As somebody used to say that, can you imagine that? We already know that virus, we call it, as I said before, love. Are you still listening, Wanlin, or you're just trying to translate?
Yeah, I'm translate. Same there's nobody want to pumping up.
Oh, they were shocked.
Yeah. I think they are more shocked when you said you're gonna teach a Chinese guy about how to create a creature in the tongue.
We did that with one of the knowledge seekers creating a brain in Valletta. Don't be shocked. Look at it this way. I mean, you have the womb of the mother, and 2 drops of water create the life. We call it a child. What is amazing with it? Egg is not a shell and a yolk that you crack it and the sperm gets in it and then something else. Is the interaction of 2 liquids, where in the liquid of the womb of the mother takes shape. I give 1 part and the tank gives the other part, and the interaction of the 2 creates life. You see, your lack of knowledge becomes your, I become God and I become a magician. But if you understand this, no one can be a magician in the universe. That's why I explain it so simply. When you look at the operation of life, the egg is already inside and part of the womb in a way is made of it. Huh? And the sperm enters and the whole lot start operating as one. So when you give me a tank, I add that center to it. The whole thing becomes the womb and the creator. It's interesting how knowledge is coming up in different ways and different things with the knowledge seekers across the world. A knowledge seeker wrote to me very recently. He said, Mr. Keshe, there is a problem I've discovered. I said, it's not a problem, I know that. He says, I'm going to do more realistic test on it. It says, my water has 10 parts per million particles. But when I put gas water in it, it becomes 44 or 40 parts per particles. He says, how does this happen? I said, very easy. You convert exactly like the virus, energy into matter, what is available in the water. Now, they're going to do a test, scientific test, and come up with a result. In a way, we enter energy water and other particles inside the water convert by energy to mass, exactly what Corona is doing. He's a uranium scientist, and we'll see what will come up with the answer. As we said 2 or 3 weeks ago with a report from the scientists in Iran, for the first time we've gone below peak. None of was our achievement up to now. Now Iran was assigned as an institute have confirmed we've gone below Pico. We know they're there, but we don't have enough machine go deep enough to see them. But we saw below nano now. We gone to Pico and we go below Pico. So is in fact, if you think the clear water is carrying still Pico materials, which is given the environment, will become particle. We're converting energy in Pico to matter state in nano by gaining energy back to itself. I told you, if the world switches to peace and the finances put into arms now, which is going to go to work of the peace work, or mankind will not have enough time to explore every avenue about life and existence in the creation of God across the universe. As I said very recently, and I repeat again to the American administration and the American government, especially to the state of California. If you take the state of California out of American state, it becomes the 8th largest economy in the world. And America as a state will fall below 15, more or less, because of a lot of negative and other positions which California creates for other states. Now that we've reached a peace condition, many companies in California were involved in weapon and development of weapon technology and arms and everything they call it under defense. Now these people are becoming without a job. That's why, as the American President Trump has said, we are getting ready because Iran is going to attack us, where actually he has to find another war to keep these companies going in California and the rest. In a way, as you remember, a very beautiful say that there was a map of Iran and there were all American flag bases all over. And then President says, Iran is planning to attack Americans. Who came 20,000 kilometers to cause to be attacked? And we still don't attack you because we are not animals. We're a mature nation. And so now we see movement in Iraq, as we've been told. And I spoke with our American guys yesterday in US. They say, yes, the plan out is we are moving because we think Iran might attack. I said, no, we are not stupid. You think Iran, due to Corona, has lost some of its leaders in military, and you think it's a weak point to attack? But be careful, you get burned. Baghdad situation was just a taster. The situation in Iraq 6-8 weeks ago was just a taster. This time, don't play with the fire. But again, it's the same situation. We are not looking for, we are looking for the maturity of the man. And now that all these guys gone into worrying about Corona with the cronies, and they have to go home, and they have to go in the Navy and the ships and the planes, and they carry the Coronas with them. We are prepared to help the American decolonize before they go. Even in Iraq. We open so much the hand of peace and love from Iran that we put you to shame, American military forces. We don't show you, but it's just because of our strength we can do, both in science, technology, and weapon technology. I speak very openly, and the members of the White House on this meeting, they understand. Respond back with a hand of peace. We save your soldiers on your ships, not only in America. As I said, I'll enforce peace if it means by writing of nations. Not their people, but their borders. Try to understand if what we call as a true peace dividend for humanity, we use all these scientists across this planet who were involved in military and defense and whatever names we gave them to develop technologies for, now that they can't sell anymore, they can't threat each other anymore, into space development and everything else. Can you consider that humanity will evolve in less than 2 years, more than 20 billion years on this planet? And then Ms. Shassel will not have a fear of viruses to go to space. As we understand them, we analyze them, we understand how to deal with them and how to live with them. The message today is very clear. Iran has taken superiority in Corona. Iran has taken superiority in dealing with Corona, and we use the Iranian military forces to spread the knowledge across Iran and beyond its borders for other nations to enjoy. We put the hand of peace out. We do not need your generosity. We give you that you stay in power as governments, but at the same time saving your nationals from this, what is happening now. And we share the technology freely. Iran is a peaceful nation and its technology belongs to humanity. We spread this technology within the next few days across Iran through the support of the Iranian army, because it's the only way it can be done that we can reach the whole of nationals and be able to secure the what we call cities. As we saw with the Chinese, they brought to do the cities, the cleaning and the rest. But in Iran, we are used to using our military for prosperity of the nation. So we bring that to the other nations. We're not going into developing a condition that we all suffer. We are going to develop the condition that becomes peaceful for humanity to enter the next step in peace and technology. If we do not get a positive response from Michael Flynn or the White House directly, as you know, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Flynn is a direct advisor to President Trump. It's the only advisor he accepts. We have put a message to him. We expect a positive response. If we do not get, we'll reach the SS Roosevelt directly and his chief to secure his people. We have the means to do so, with peaceful intention and peaceful application. The same will reach the governor of Arizona and California and will change the course directly. We break up the animosity through friendship and safe conduct. There's one answer. We collectively work with the armies to eradicate the corona, and collectively we work with armies to bring a new condition of peace across the world. I stand shoulder to shoulder with all the military forces of any color and race, as long as it serves the nation and humanity. Any other question? Or shall we call it a day?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Can I read some feedback about from the Chinese?
Yep.
About the meditation.
Yes.
Okay, somebody said like all the matters has the spirit, has a life. So somebody says meditation is a practice to link with your soul, to have a core with your soul. And somebody say my experience is the meditation is kind of a deep inside view. When the brain calm down and release and become emptiness, and the inner awareness starting to expand. And somebody say to meditate is to expand the soul became the same size with the universe, to unite it as a oneness, and then the universe energy became oneness status, and then you can download it. So another one said to feel yourself emotion, thoughts, and the heat or cold in your body or pain, and do not react to it till your thoughts like disappears, and feel everything is in serenity. Yeah, but somebody has some question. Oh, actually, I quite agree with somebody's word. He said, actually, Iran is the best nation to open this peace technology to the world. I quite agree with that. Although you try a lot with China, but maybe Iran is the really, as what you said, Iran has the key. So you have to give the key to Iran nation, have to accept the key, and then use the key to open the door of China. That's what my opinion.
Can you explain to us the discussions in QQ regarding the cup of man, how they look at it?
But somebody still want me to ask you about the salinity or blah blah. They want to talk more, but I was just laughing.
Yeah. What do they talk on QQ regarding the soul of the system?
Soul of the system.
Yeah, the cup of
Okay, let me ask them, huh? Okay.
You had it on the QQs past week. What is the word has been taught?
They are trying to understand why some parts use the nanowire, and people try to understand the salinity of the different caps. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the energies. What do they talk about the energies? The yin and yang in the cups.
Yin and yang. Yes. Actually, I didn't see much people discussion of that, but I have some understanding and I have discussion with one of the knowledge seekers. We also think that the soul of the man and the soul of the physics can create the field. Yeah, as what you said, must create a soul. So we create a soul of the same strength of our soul so that we can communicate with them. And today you are talking about the beautiful lady, beautiful people. That's what I want to say. So then you will find maybe in your inside you have two souls and you can talk with another soul.
Can you ask your QQ people how do they see the balance of their fields as a Chinese?
Balance of the field. Okay, let me ask them.
In a cup of life.
Okay.
Because other QQs who are involved in the work of the soul and the cup have a very deep discussions going on this matter. That
Where?
I'll give you the QQ to go to. You're not the only place I talk to.
Yeah, here there's not much people discussion about that. 那个凯西先生是说，在另外一个 QQ 群，我不知道他在哪个 QQ 群，说大家很深刻的讨论了这个人类杯里面的这个两个灵魂的这个阴阳平衡的这样一种关系，所以他在问说有了解的知识寻求者，中国的知识寻求者可以来解释一下这两个杯之间的这个阴阳平衡。
Go into the Taoism chat lines.
Taoism chat line? Where?
Yes. You should find it. There are those people who've been around us and they're considering the cup of life with it.
I didn't have that. So I found some strange thing. You don't understand Chinese, but you are in a QQ group, which I don't know, and discuss.
Because they explained to me how, with the Taoist groups we met, a lot of them, they have opened the chat lines and they still follow the work of the foundation.
Oh, really?
And they are discussing it.
Can you invite me in?
No, if they want, they would have invited you in. They are looking at the Keshe Foundation work and Taoism. As you know, they always said the two are very similar.
Yeah, that's what I feel also,
Yeah, but Taoism people always looked at the Keshe Foundation as a what you call confirmation of Taoism.
Yes, for them, they only have the older mystery theory, but not much things can be like really can say and show. So that I was I was learning a lot from some other groups of Taoism also. That's very interesting. The more I learn more, the more I think it's the same. Just as you say, that's the teaching in past maybe 5,000, 6,000 years ago. But now you have teaching in a new modern scientific way of the older Taoism and more details.
And the Taoism groups understand, they think they have found an answer to many of the long years of questions.
Yes, actually, that's why I introduced this to some people, and they are more easier to understand you if they really knows what you are talking.
Yeah, because Taoism believes in the yin and yang, a balance of the two. And as we had many meetings with them, they see the knowledge with the technology as an answer, or what do you call it? How do they express it? They express it as a
confirmation.
Confirmation, yeah.
Or what they learn from the books, or
yeah.
learn from their masters. And yeah, you are totally the different, like a new way to explain that so easily that everybody to understand. Because if you read the old books for us, we think that's the book of the God. Nobody understand because they, for all your theory, they just use several words describe all the whole of plasma. Just less than maybe 20 words. They explain everything. But if you just read that words have no meaning. But if you hear you're explaining how plasma is working, we'll come back to say, exactly, that's this very simple words, what explain the whole world, how to run.
The Taoists in China, when they come in touch with the teaching of the foundation, it's like that they find the missing links.
Yeah. That's what I always say. This is your teaching is linked the ancient and modernized, link the West and East, and link the Earth civilization with the universal community civilization.
Thank you very much. So what do your people say? The thing is, let me explain to our listeners. We've had many encounters and many beautiful meetings, and we made many friends in Taoism in China during my stay. And pardon?
Sorry, I translate. I mute myself.
Yeah. And the more we work with, or with more contact we have with the Taoism leaders and key people, the more we understand. We talk the same, but now we understand more of the same. And the Taoism groups, especially in Beijing and other places we meet, are adamant that technology has to be explained to, and the Chinese will understand it because it's part of their culture. In the groups which work with the Keshe Foundation with our knowledge, they have gathered a lot in past 3 or 4 weeks, especially with the cups, the cup of man. It was a point of mystery to them, which now has been unraveled. They understood a lot, and it's affected them a lot. If you look at the 2 cups, are the yin and yang. One has a weakness which the other one covers, and one has the strength which the other one has to give, but at the same time, both wear weaknesses and the strength. That the interaction between the 4, in a way, what we call yin and yang, or gravity and magnetical, creates that condition of the balance between the cups, the cup of man. This is what we have with the physicality of the man and the soul of the man. The soul of the man in the brain, has a very powerful strength that leads to the creation of the man, but it needs the soul of the physicality, which is so weaker, to be able to expand itself to manifest the physicality. At the same time, it is a strength it needs to receive, which uses the soul of physicality and the actual physical body to maintain that position of receiving the lowest, that it can give more of the highest. And in our stay in China, as I said, we came across many through Taoists, and I've given talk to many Taoist groups and teams of individuals, and they understand the culture of the Keshe Foundation and in teaching in a totally different manner. It's like a fulfillment of what they could not understand. And it's strange enough, and the militaries took it the wrong way, but it's okay. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, this is Leon from Germany. I got the question from the Telegram group, and it's about the two protocols. How have to behave a pregnant woman with the protocol 1 and 2?
The protocol does not make any difference on the pregnant woman. It's the fields of interaction if the coronavirus is there, and has no what do you call it?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. There's one other, or maybe two. There's Mrs. Mohammadi and Philip. Also,
Mrs. Mohammadi, let's listen to Mrs. Mohammadi, what she has to say.
It's getting kind of late here, so.
So, Mrs. Mohammadi, do you have anything for us?
Could one of those two go ahead? Open your microphone.
Can we have the
Philip?
Mrs. Mohammadi? Is it all talk or she wants to speak?
Yes, Mr. Keshe,
Mrs. Mohammadi,
you
can
here.
go ahead.
Yes.
For just minutes, we need you here, please.
Oh, you want me in a meeting?
Not able to hear you.
Hello?
Yes, just for
a
couple minutes or so, please.
Yes, Rick, can you play, or is it the time we say goodbye? It's nearly 1 o'clock. They want me in a meeting in Tehran. I have to attend.
So,
thank you very much for today.
The universe is saying it's time for us to close down, Mr. Keshe.
It's time to close down, yeah. It's important for me to be in Tehran.
Is it on my end?
Thank you very much indeed for today. And I hope
Mr. Keshe,
we have good news for you. Yes, I have to go.
Maybe it is on my end. I'm not hearing, so let me check my connections here.
Yes, I think, Rick, you're deafened. Oh,
okay.
hello, Rick.
I got a setting that got.
Yeah, can you hear us?
I've been talking to myself and not being able to hear
you.
Let me try to get it fixed.
Can you hear us? Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
No, Rick is all muddled up. Can't hear anything. He's talking to himself.
Bear with me a minute. I'm not able to hear.
No, he's not able to hear the meeting.
No, he's not hearing.
Okay.
Can hear.
Sorry,
Can you hear
I'm
us?
back. I'm okay now. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. I have to go into a call from Tehran. It's urgent. So I would like to thank you for today. And hopefully next week we'll have a better news. At the same time, I hope today we learned a lot. And we'll see what will come and how this thing will take shape. Thank you very much.
Best wishes, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you indeed. Bye-bye.
take care, Mr. Keshe.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And this has been the 322nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. And I'll remind people we do have the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace coming up on Tuesday. And then the private teachings will be shut down until I think it's May 4th. So there's a break there. But we will continue with the public teachings. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks everyone, and see you next time around.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate.